Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So a couple of days ago, I did my players pyramid for the center position, McDavid Mountain. About a month ago at this point, I did Hellebuck Hill. I did the defenseman. It was Hughes Hill / McCarr Mountain. And today, we have Kucherov Kilimanjaro for my geography heads out there. Obviously, Kilimanjaro, the Tanzania mountain. I think it's actually a dormant volcano in Africa, largest mountain range in Africa. It's the one alliteration that really fit. I thought about maybe doing just like cliff and just like changing the C to the K, but that's kind of boring. We're doing Kilimanjaro, Kucherov, Kilimanjaro, because I think we can agree at this point right now, Nikita Kucherov's the best winger in the entire NHL. So we're going to go through it. We got 5 different tiers of this pyramid working our way up. We got low elite, high elite, star, superstar, and then the best. So yeah, let's rip it. Let's get into it. And here is our lowest pyramid, or lowest tier list on the pyramid, the low elite. Tom Wilson having like a 35-35 season. And with Tom Wilson, it's not just about the offense. If anything, the physicality is arguably more important. What this guy brings, he's a menace, and the leadership, the intangibles. He's back to low elite status. He had a bit of a down year the last kind of 2 years, but he appears to be all the way back. I don't expect him to be putting up 35-35 next year as well, but even if he's just 30-30, again, with that physicality and the other stuff that he brings to the table, a low elite winger, in my opinion, maybe a little bit lower on this tier list than others. Lucas Raymond, 73 points last year. Right now is hovering just above point per game. I think he has 69 and 68 points. Looked fantastic for Team Sweden. And yeah, he's been like a 1A, 1B, arguably more important at times than Dylan Larkin, fully establishing himself as an elite player in this league. Definitely a top 60 player. Might be cracking my top 50 come July when we update that. He's been awesome. Brandon Hagel, another guy that has just been on an ascension, 65 points, then like 674 this year, 31 goals, 42 assists, 73 points. He's been great. He has been great, especially playing. It's not like he's playing on that top line with Point, Gensel, and Kucherov. He's been playing a lot with Anthony Cirelli and whoever they've been plugging in at that second right wing spot. So yeah, he's a two-way demon. Philip Forsberg this year has not really been that good, but nobody's really been that good on Nashville. Last year, he was like, in terms of heart value, he should have been like, I know it's only top 5 that you vote on. You could make arguments for him being the top 10 most valuable player. He had 48 goals and 46 assists last year on that Nashville team. Helped them get into the playoffs through that insane run. So yeah, he's definitely still in low elite given his track record. Kirill Marchenko, a guy that has just been on the rise. Previous years has been a good goal scorer, but his full package in terms of playmaking and IQ really developed this season. Him and Sean Monahan finally getting solid center play really led to this breakout by Kirill Marchenko. Martin Necas previously had a 70-point season in Carolina to start the season, was like leading the Art Ross race early on, and in Colorado playing with that much talent. He's been great yet again and should consistently be around the point per game, maybe 90-point guy, playing alongside guys like McKinnon and McCarr on a power play. And since he's got their power play has been significantly better actually than with Mikko Rantanen for this season only. Konechny, when looking at him, great to start the season. Like, he was a top 30 player to start the season. He had like 50 points in his first 40 games, like 25 goals, 25 assists or something like that. He has slowed down a little bit, but that's as a result of Philadelphia kind of selling, as well as just not being that good of a team and not playing that good of late. But still, when looking at him, what he brings to the Philadelphia Flyers, leaps and bounds their best offensive player, playing with guys like Sean Couturier as their number 1 center. He's still point per game. Their like third leading scorer has like 37 points this season. It's crazy what he's doing. Extremely skilled guy and pretty physical. Nikolai Ehlers, another guy that hasn't had the best center play. He plays with Nemestenkov. I believe I pronounced that name right. That time I've botched it before. But yeah, Nemestikov, right? Nemestikov. Him, Nemestikov, and Perfetti. So yeah, he hasn't had the best center play. He's a point per game player this season. I think he's probably going to leave in the offseason, hit the unrestricted free agency market. And if you give this guy a good, legit number 1 center, I think he could be a 90-point player. I'm not going to lie. I think he's an underrated guy still, despite last year was a down year because Bonus played him like 15 minutes a night, but previous years had been a point per game guy. Seth Jarvis missed some games, so his raw point totals in terms of goals and assists doesn't look that impressive, but on a per game basis, he's putting up like around 35 and 35, which is kind of what he did last year, and it's a defense that gets him safely within this tier. One of the best defensive wingers in the NHL. Adrian Kempe, not killing it relative to other seasons, but has that track record where you got to respect it. It's been around the 35 to 40-ish goal guy most seasons. Cole Caulfield finally putting it together, fully healthy, putting it together in 2022. He was what was it? Was it 2023? He had like 28 goals in 28 games. This year might potentially hit 40 goals, hit 30 goals for the first time. You can't make the best 50 goals never hit 30. Maybe you could say never hit 40, but he is having a great season. And even last year, again, he still had like, 65 points and 28 goals while shooting like 8%. Such a skilled goal scorer. Jordan Kyrou on pace for like 35 and 35, a stat line that he's put up before. The skating with him is so impressive, and he's really developed a nice shot. Alexei Protas might be a controversial pick. You could say recency bias, and I definitely understand that. I kind of wanted to show love. There's other guys like Carter Verhaeghe is not killing it this regular season, but has more of a track record. Protas has been a monster, and he's been a monster at even strength, especially if you watch my underrated video. 5th in the NHL in even strength points per 60, only behind, what was it? Ovechkin, Draisaitl, Kaprizov, and Pasternak. So yeah, pretty decent company to be in. He's driving a shit ton of offense at 5-on-5. You look at the track record, and I understand he doesn't deserve to be here based on the track record, but this season he has been so special for the Washington Capitals and so crucial to their success. And then lastly, Alexander DeBrincat, or Alex, is he even Alexander? I don't think I've ever heard him get called Alexander. Still, Alex DeBrincat has gotten his goal-scoring touch back, 31 goals this season. His one season in Ottawa and his last year, his first season in Detroit, still was giving you like 30-ish goal pace. But yeah, it's looking like not going to hit 40, but back in those high 30s, back to those kind of paces that he was putting up in Chicago. So that's really good to see. And yeah, defensively, he's been better than prior years. Alex DeBrincat back on track. The second row, William Nylander. I could see arguments for you moving him up to star. I guess I maybe should have done like low star, high star, because these guys are kind of stars. But we're gonna roll with it. William Nylander, 38 goals this season. He's either tied for second or third right now in the NHL. He's been a monster, so smooth in transition. Speaking of transition, Jesper Bratt might be the best transitional player outside of like Connor McDavid in the NHL. His skating is off the charts. He has 80 points in 69 games since Hughes has gone down. If you listen to the podcast, he's been involved in like 12 out of the Devils' 20 goals in the 7 games without Jack Hughes. He's crazy. Yeah. Again, he's killing it this season. Artemi Panarin's having a bit of a down year relative, especially, I mean, relative to last year, no shit. But even relative to prior years before that, let me pull it up. He only has 73 points in 67 games. But I would drop him down a little bit, considering he does kind of ghost mode occasionally in the playoffs and not the best defensive player. High elite Brady Tkachuk, sticking with this tier. Brady Tkachuk, physical beast, around point per game, gives you around 35-ish goals. Jake Gensel, as reliable as it gets, 40 and 40, basically pencil him in for it every single season. Ovechkin putting up like 50 goal pace at his age, still an absolute tank. Jason Robertson has earned his way back up after last year having not a bit of a down year compared to 2023, but only like 80 points. This year was coming off an injury and started off really slow with like 15 points in his first 30 games. He's been a top 10 forward basically since like December. So I wouldn't be surprised by the end of the season if he's in the stars. He's definitely going to be within the top 50, probably the top 40, maybe the top 35, considering he has really emerged yet again for the Dallas Stars, and that's what they badly needed. And Clayton Keller is killing it this season. I bet you don't know that he currently has 75 points in 67 games. And again, that's with like Barrett Hayden as his number one center. He's killing it for Utah as they make a potential late push into the playoffs. Yeah, that's the high elite tier. Then we got the stars. Sam Reinhart has gone cold a little bit I think he has like 3 goals in his last 20 games. That's definitely not ideal, but he still has 33 on the season, as well as being above a point per game and being at 5-on-5, probably the best defensive forward in the NHL. His teammate Barkov's going to win the Selke just because kind of name value. But if I had a vote, it would go to Sam Reinhart at this point. So, yeah, maybe not the offensive point totals of some of the guys below, but defensively, it's a two-way game. I value the two-way players. Mikko Rantanen, I know since getting traded to Carolina, and he's been good on Dallas, has not warranted this tier, but come on, man. This guy has back-to-back 100-point seasons. His playoff point per game is like 1.2. When he was away from Nathan MacKinnon, when Nathan MacKinnon was hurt, he had like 39 points in 29 games in Colorado. If you're saying that he's just a high elite guy and not a star after a 16 game stretch, you're absolutely ridiculous. Matthew Tkachuk, since the 2023 season, hasn't put up gaudy point totals that maybe warrant this star tier. But when you look at like who would you rather have, what wingers would you rather have in a playoff series? There's very few wingers that I would rather have than Matthew Tkachuk. Again, similar to Brady Tkachuk, the point totals maybe don't fully warrant that position, but he's an absolute dog, and he's done it in the playoffs consistently at a high level since arriving in Florida. Kyle Connor, 36 goals, 49 assists for 85 points in 69 games this season. On the flip side, he did kind of get benched in the Four Nations, but still at the NHL level, he is just dominant. He carves up defenses. Big reason why probably the number one reason why Winnipeg's power play is the best in the NHL. He's been awesome. Mark Stone, 58 points in 53 games, and going back to Sam Reinhart, one of the best defensive wingers the last decade. He's been without a doubt the best defensive winger in the NHL. I don't think that's really up for debate. So yeah, what he brings from a two-way aspect, I do value more than a Bratt, than a Nylander. Call me crazy. Call me crazy. Same thing goes for Mitch Marner. The defensive impact is very impressive. And this year he is killing it offensively with 83 points in 67 games. That's my stars. Just realized I don't have like an S at the end of superstars as well. Yikes, that's inconsistent. Lastly, no shit who's in here. Maybe you'd be surprised. No, by then you would know by the stars. But yeah, David Pastrnak. Similarly to like a Jason Robertson, had a bit of a rough start, and in part because he didn't have much talent to play with. But he just like flipped the switch in the new year and has been arguably the best forward in the NHL since January 1st. I think he's clicking at like 60 goals, 70 assists, 130 point pace since then. He's been awesome. Boston's not going to make the playoffs because the rest of the team is ass, but he's been great with like Morgan Geekie as his number one center. Kirill Kaprizov, before his injury, was the MVP favorite, and I think he was leading the Art Ross race. I could be wrong on that, but he was killing it. He was absolutely killing it. It stinks that he got hurt yet again, but monster top 10 players. Him and Pasta are safely top 10 players. I know I moved Pasta out of that. You can clown on me for that. Then lastly, we got Nikita Kucherov having another like 1.5 plus point per game season. He's a beast. 95 points in 63 games. So actually, he's below 1.5 points per game. My bad. But like, yeah, on pace for around 100 and above 119 would that pace be? I think maybe. But he's killing it. He is so dominant, and the main reason why Tampa has been an offensive wagon the last decade. Not decade. He hasn't been that good for that long. But the last 6 years, he has been big for the he's been consistently put up like 125 point pace. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about this tier list? I'll get you out if you're at this point. Again, a lot of different guys that you could put, which way am I pointing, that you could put into the low elite. I just can't fit. That's 14 guys down there. I can't have like 20 guys, or else you're just never going to be able to see their face. Their faces are going to be smushed up. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? I'll be live streaming my watch along, not live streaming the actual game, watch along for Canadiens versus my New York Islanders tonight. Hope you're enjoying March Madness. I'll be seeing the next one. Peace.